It was just radically different than anything that had been seen before. And so it just sort of hit the zeitgeist, as they say, and started to hear about it. It would be in movies. They'd be talking about it, and it's in a Bruno Mars song. Like, all these crazy things started to happen. And it just, Pink, the singer Pink, was talking about it on the Oprah Winfrey Show. These are the kind of things that you can't pay for. And that's really what put the company on the map.
Welcome to episode 122. Normally, it would be just me having a conversation with you guys in this episode, but I have to introduce you to somebody instead, because right now there's something being launched in Australia. And through this show, you guys are one of the first people to actually hear about it if you're in Australia. So I need to tell you a little bit about the guest, and then I'll explain what's going on before I bring him on to the show. So Carl Daikeler is the CEO and co-founder of Body. Body used to be called Beachbody. I don't know if you guys remember that or know anything about that. I certainly do, because I'm from the States. So he's the visionary entrepreneur and the CEO of the co-founder, the Beachbody company, which is an incredible innovator in the fitness and nutrition space. You guys are going to know all about him, his backstory, his amazing programs that they developed over the years. And basically, then they rebranded into Body, and has things like P90X. Do you guys know about that program? P90X, Insanity, 21-Day Fix. There's like hundreds of programs on this app. It used to be like DVDs back in the day. Guys, he is one of the initial, I would say, founding fathers of this space. The amazing reach amount of people that they have using their programs. And now they're coming to Australia, and they're launching, like right now, as you're listening to this podcast, there's a ridiculous deal that you can get as one of the first 100,000 people that sign up in Australia to the app. And there's going to be links in the show notes. So you definitely need to head over to hustlerebellion.com, and you guys are going to have to get the app because it's ridiculous. You'll hear what the deal is as we talk about it more. But this conversation is brilliant. You're gonna hear about sort of concepts in the future of the fitness industry, community, user-generated content, just what Carl's done to build such a massive company, and also his take on hustle. Might be surprising. So you guys, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's introduce Carl. Let's bring him onto the show. Carl, welcome to the show. Very, very honored and excited that you are here. How's it going?
Thanks, Heather. It's going great. I've been hustling all day.
We're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that word for sure. We're going to tear it apart a little bit.
Okay.
Where are you based, by the way, so our listeners can know?
I'm actually sitting in Los Angeles, California, just outside of Santa Monica.
Beautiful spot in the world. Excellent. And you are in summer. We're over in winter, so jealous. All right. So I want to start. We're going to get into your growth and what's happening. And I know you're in a high growth period, as you and I are bantering before. So this is a really relevant question. Let's talk a little bit about hustle and what it means. And do you have some tips to grow your own businesses with less hustle? And what do you think about hustle as well?
Yeah, it's really fascinating. When I saw the name of your podcast, I was like, "Ooh, I don't know how I'm going to go on this and be and have integrity," because I'm not anti-hustle necessarily, but I am anti-burnout. Like, you're no good to anybody if you're wiped out. But I would say that while I'm always in a growth mindset, right now I am in a survival mode. Like, we need the company, the whole business model of fitness and in-home fitness, and helping people, to find a way to be a catalyst to getting more people to start. Here in the States, we've got 190 million people overweight or obese. And obviously the weight loss pharmaceutical industry is just sweeping across the country. But that magic solution is actually quite traumatic if it's not accompanied by healthy lifestyle choices. So I've got to figure out really fast how to reach more people with healthy lifestyle. And so my reflex is to want to hustle. But we've got an incredible product, digital fitness programs that basically, just to give you a sense of it for people who aren't aware of the Body
Tell us.
brand. What we do is a little bit different. We create, where you join a gym and you walk into the gym like, hey, I'm going to do this the rest of my life. And I'm going to try to go to this 3, 4, 5 days a week. And it's going to be my new normal. I personally could never do that. I've tried to join gyms and I can't stand it. I would never stay consistent. I would join them and never go. So I would just blow money. But give me a day one start, commitment to a thing, an experience, and follow it for 21 days or 60 days or 90 days. I'm a goal-oriented person, and I love that. So over the course of the 25-year history of the business, we've built a catalog of 130 programs, different dance programs, lifting programs, cardio programs, yoga programs, Pilates programs. So each one of these programs is a project, which really appeals to people who can't even digest the idea of going to a gym the rest of their lives. They don't even have time to leave the house. So doing an in-home program from day one to day whatever is this kind of reward system that really works for people. So we've got to scale this in a way that gets it to more people, to help more people enjoy the benefits of the weight loss pharmaceuticals, or if that's not their jam, to just improve their lifestyle. And it's a mission of the business, has been the mission for 25 years. So I'm inclined to want to hustle.
Yeah.
However, it's really important, because we're a healthy lifestyle company, that does not come at all costs. So I have to work really hard to manage my mentality, my mindset, to maintain my mission orientation and constantly remember that this is an honor and a privilege to run this company, and I am not a victim of it. So that mental shift means that I'm in a position of, and this is the critical thing, I think, for me in an anti-hustle interview, that I'm in a constant mode of creativity. As long as I'm in a mode of creativity, I've always got hope. And that's sort of the essence of what I would call love, or creating positive energy, rather than a toxic environment that is gritting your teeth, or what they call white knuckling the steering wheel, trying to just get through it. And that's no way to live. That's not the way I want to live. And that's no way that I want people to experience our product. So, but that's a CEO's job to manage that demeanor.
It is. What does hustle mean to you? How would you define it, just so we're on the same page?
Yeah. Well, hustle, growing up, hustle was a big word in my family, particularly in sports, but also in business. And it meant outworking the competition. It meant, for instance, if there's a loose ball on the basketball court, scrambling for that loose ball harder than the other players were willing to. The willingness to dive for a ball, that's hustle. Or in business, that extra effort when everybody else is turning the lights off for the day to go enjoy a nice dinner, to be willing to put in the extra hour, or to work some time on the weekend in order to make sure that the potential that we've got is the potential we achieve. So that's hustle to me. Mm-hmm. And I suppose that this anti-hustle culture or frame of mind that I'm seeing now is really about the destructive approach to hustle that is, again, doing these things at all costs, which is what you don't want to do. You don't want to.
That's it.
And by the way, I can't say that that I've avoided this. I probably created this in my own life, but I can look back. I've got a 16-year-old, and we run a slideshow on our TV when the TV goes to sleep. Right, it shows family photos, and I look at some of those photos, and I'm like, I wasn't around for that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that year. So, you know, that's the dark side of hustle, that I was working so hard that I missed complete chapters of my son's life or my daughter's life. And that's unfortunate. I can't get it back, but I can learn from it.
You can, definitely. And the one thing about hustle I've learned from the many interviews I've had is that it definitely is a mindset, and working hard is not what we're not against working hard. We're very much for working hard and working on the weekends because you have to at phases in your business for sure. But the idea would be that you have a control over your time, and when you forget that, that's when things can get a little bit dangerous as well. So understanding that, yes, you can say no more, yes, you can be more present in the moment, even though you're slammed, you can be more present. So that's why I had to know what your thought was on hustle and what it meant to you. But you also are from the health industry as well, so I'm curious, how do you deal with stressful times in your business, knowing all that you do around health and fitness and wellness? How do you,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do? Do you have some rituals or things that you do to take care of better care of yourself?
Oh, for sure.
Mm,
So I'll answer two ways. One about
please.
just what I do lifestyle wise, and then the other just a little bit about business. So first,
Yes.
lifestyle wise, I found that we created a category called health esteem. Health esteem is sort of a play on health and self esteem, meaning that you want to use your behaviors like exercise and nutrition as in a way to honor your physical body and your mental health rather than a way to punish yourself for habits of the past or a day of drinking or whatever. Like, so for me, these programs that we produce quite often have 6 days a week. Some of them even have 7 days a week of exercise. And for me, I found that as long as I manage myself to 5 days a week,
Yeah.
and but not all those days need to be blow your brains out intense, which is the way I used to work out. Like if I wasn't close to vomiting, I didn't feel like I had worked out.
Ah, interesting.
And a couple of years ago, I backed off of that. And you know, I would still say like 2 days a week, maybe 3 days a week, I'll get in that gear and I'll have it, and I won't, I'll have the energy, and it's incredible. But to not have the pressure to do it every time made it so that the gym in the house was not my enemy.
Oh,
Um, and the other thing that I did was I also gave myself a break, and like I need to do this stuff in the morning or it's not going to happen. So I have this thing that I say, I want to own the morning. So I want to own my morning. I don't want the phone and the screen to own my morning. I don't want thoughtless behaviors to steal my time. And frankly, I like to wake up before everybody in the house so that I can own the morning before the kids are up and all that stuff.
nice.
So I have a ritual basically that I do: get up, drink a big glass of water. There's a health shot that we sell over here in the States called First Thing. Do that. Then I'll have a superfood shake that we have for breakfast. Then I do a cold plunge. Then I'll do my workout, and I get that done before the day starts, and then I can engage.
Nice.
So that's sort of my ritual that takes the pressure off because I don't have to think about it. What is it going to be? When am I going to try to fit it? That's where I'm going to put it.
Yeah, I like that.
Now, as it relates to business, um, that's a little more difficult because that's constantly changing, right? So you don't know what's coming at you, and you're constantly in problem solving mode. But what I do look at is what is the I'll call it sort of the sure thing. Like, what can I do to not make the ramp to success so steep that it's impossible? Um, and that's really helped. I'll give you an example. So we're launching in Australia. We're launching the app in Australia on July 30th. And I'm not sure when people will hear this, but let's say if they're lucky enough to hear it right around July 30th, you might learn something. So we were like, how are we going to launch this app in Australia when we have no presence in Australia? We got 130 programs. People love it over here. And we charge price of about what would be the equivalent of $260 a year, Australian, for a year's worth of this subscription. We're like, well, how about the first 100,000 people can get it for $20? So that's what so that's what I'm saying. Like that's just a no-brainer.
It's
like
a no-brainer.
That's right. So $20 Australian versus $260 Australian. I think that first 100,000, and then we'll get a sense of, does the market like the content, P90X Insanity, 21-day fix, Lift 4, all these programs. And so we made that decision when the team was super tense about it. We made this decision to say, let's just get on base. This is not a make or break thing for the company, but it is an opportunity for expansion in an English speaking market that could really take off if we just get a footprint there. So that's how we're going to do it. We just sort of hit the easy button and we'll see what happens. We took the pressure off, and the listeners of your podcast will be the beneficiaries of the first ones to know about it.
They will. And I love that you are talking about the sort of the easy path, the path where you're saying the sure thing, as you were saying. Really smart. What you've just talked about is a no-brainer offer, which is what I'm always saying to businesses to work smarter, right? It's come up with that no-brainer where somebody's like, I'd be so stupid to say no to that. And that's what that is, Carl. That's brilliant. That's amazing. So let's,
we'll see what happens. Then, we'll see what we're going to do with the next 100,000.
Exactly.
But
that's going to create a stir in Australia for sure, because it's such a easy deal, and especially with what you're saying is going on in the industry right now with pharmaceuticals. I mean, it's over here as well. It's like people can't get the actual injections that they want, and there's this huge shift in how people are thinking and dealing with people that are trying to get healthy, and so it's really good timing. So yes.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to see what happens, and maybe we'll come over and celebrate when it
we
kicks
will.
off.
We will. I love this. So, guys listening, you gotta yes, it is going to be coming out around that time, and we'll have links to where you can go and sign up and get on the $20 deal. So amazing.
Great.
I want to change gears a little bit and talk about your favorite moments of success, because I know you're going through a crazy time right now. But you think back to all the different areas of your business over the years. What are some of your favorites? Moments?
Well, they're very private. Meaning I experience them internally, but the thing that I love is, like, I love solving a problem. So there's this program that we launched called 21-day fix. Okay. That's in the library for anybody that subscribes.
Great.
And I can remember we were developing that, and I pitched this idea, and the concept was, again, for many people like me, thinking about the next 6 months is just too intimidating. And for people who are just getting started, what can I do in 3 weeks? So we came up with this combination of fitness and nutrition, an approach that would just help people get started. And I can remember I had employees, I had trainers, the talent on that, and a woman named Autumn Calabrese, even the director, the director of the workout videos, said, nobody's going to get the kind of results that they'll be really happy with in just 21 days. And I said, well, if we show them step by step what to do, they could lose between 5 and 10 pounds in 21 days. Not going to do that forever, and it obviously depends on where they start.
Yeah.
But for somebody who's got 50, 100 pounds to lose, they could absolutely lose 10. Actually, we've had people lose 15 pounds in 21 days.
Incredible.
So despite that, the pushback internally, we forged ahead. And when that product launched, it was an absolute instant success.
Mm.
And it took off for a solid 3 years. It continues to be, and that was 10 years ago. It continues to be one of our top 5 programs in the library. So that's super redeeming to me, that a sort of an intuition, a hunch, has picked up that kind of market. The other one that I would say is was this P90X. That's sort of the most famous brand. That's sort of our first $1 billion brand.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those things that everybody around me was telling me that it won't work. You can't show people working out hard, doing push-ups, doing pull-ups, because that's what people don't buy that. And I thought, well, I think smart people do. Rational people go, yeah, if I want to get these kind of results, if I want to get extreme results, that's what I'm going to need to do. And
Yes.
so I thought it would appeal to me. So we produced this program, really cool, made it authentic, didn't have people all in workout gear. They were just relaxed, made it look like just a fun gym. The trainer's hysterical, is a guy named Tony Horton. And when we first tested it, everybody was right. It did not work. But there was a hint of success there. So we would continue to test it and focus group it and refine it. And after 2 years, that was from 2005 to 2007. 2007, that thing absolutely took off. And I think we've sold, I want to say, over 11 million copies
Oh my
of
God.
that program. Like, it's an incredible success story. One of the most dominant brands in in-home fitness in the US and maybe the world to some degree, because it's been pirated so much.
Yeah.
But those were like, to have an idea, a silly name, and then see it take off like that is just incredibly gratifying.
What happened in 2007 to make it take off?
Okay, that'll be my third example.
Okay.
What happened was we started so we were marketing it for 2 years. And one of the things is we would ask people to send in their success stories, and we recognize them with a t-shirt. We still do it on Instagram, and Instagram, it's called @BodyStories. Body spelled BODI. Okay.
Right.
So @BodyStories, people submit their results, and then if we publish them, we'll give them a t-shirt. So
Yeah.
in those days, it was P90X, and people were sending us their success stories. And Heather, we had people who had no business doing an extreme program, but they were so inspired by the intensity of it and the excitement of doing something that they probably wouldn't be comfortable doing in a gym, but they would go for it in their own home, and they were modifying it to themselves. But we had people losing 100 pounds, 150 pounds, doing multiple rounds of these. So then we took those success stories and put them on TV. And first off, it did my heart incredible to watch these people who were lost lose this kind of weight and get healthy.
Yeah.
But once we started to show real people getting these results, and people were like, oh, wait, if that guy could do it, I've only got 20 pounds to lose, and that guy's ripped. So all of a sudden, people were like, it had enough credibility from users that it started to really take off. And then, people were talking about it like crazy because it was so different. It was just radically different than anything that had been seen before. And so it just sort of hit the zeitgeist, as they say, and started to hear about it. It would be in movies. They'd be talking about it, and it's in a Bruno Mars song. Like, all these crazy things started to happen. And it just, Pink, the singer Pink, was talking about it on the Oprah Winfrey Show. These are the kind of things that you can't pay for.
No.
And that's really what put the company on the map.
That is amazing that you turned to your community, the user-generated content, and that was the shift, like validating your people and rewarding them. And I can't imagine from your perspective, like you just said, seeing these people and the way this program has changed their lives, and knowing that you had a part, like a piece in that as well. Amazing. Really
incredibly
amazing.
humbling.
Yeah.
And we've got a whole team. We call it our success stories team.
Yeah.
And we probably get 30 to 40,000 submissions a year to be featured, and they'll bring you to tears. It's just what people do.
Wow.
What might start as I want to get abs, or I want my clothes to fit better, turns into, oh my gosh, I'm going to now slow down the progress of lifestyle disease like hypertension, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, things that, I thought I was going to be on medications for the rest of my life just because of lifestyle change. Yeah. Just these just the slightest change that's as convenient as your home gym, all of a sudden sets off a chain reaction into the family that is lifestyle change versus let me just get my pants to fit better. And that's why I'm proud of this company. Quite frankly, we used to be called Beachbody. That was the original name of the company. We changed it to Body, BODI, because we didn't want it to just be about vanity metrics, because it became more than that. It became about enhancing the experience of life and this thing, health esteem, where
Yeah.
instead of just being outcome oriented, what is the experience of treating yourself this way? And that just changed the whole demeanor of the company, and changed the demeanor of the content that we were creating, because it came about, it started to become about living a better life.
You're generationally affecting people with this program, and their kids and the kids of the kids, by breaking these patterns. And just so you guys know, for those of you listening in audio, Carl's completely lit up when he's talking about this. So I can tell how much it's meant to you, the change that you guys have made on this planet. I have to tell you a story really quickly. So my ex-business partner from my other business, Andrew, he's in the States. He's actually Aussie and went over there. We kind of swapped places, but he called me up one day. He's like, Heather, I've come across this thing. It's called P90X. I'm going to send you the video that's made me sign up. And it was like you said, people doing extreme workout, and it had some of the case studies in it. He's like, I'm so excited. I'm so pumped. And I'm like, wow, I've never seen anything like this when it comes to marketing in fitness. So I remember it vividly back years ago. So something you did with the zigging and the zagging and doing something different absolutely worked.
Well,
Just
and here's what's been fun about it. You want to talk about a fun job, okay?
Yeah.
So, and this is one of the reasons I started the company, is I basically wanted a platform to be able to be creative. And this was an area that needed reinvention. And we had a knack for it, so we just expanded on it. So in 2017, 2018, P90X had been super successful. We created a program called Insanity, which is the hardest cardio program ever created. But they were on DVD. So, the programs would be maybe, 12 to 15 workouts. Okay.
Yeah.
But once we went digital and people could subscribe to it, we thought, well, what if instead of a bunch of DVDs that you rotate according to our calendar, what if we actually produced it so that it was almost like a reality show? So day by day, when you show up for your workout, they're showing up for their day 1, their day 5, their day 21, their day 80. So we created a program called 80 Day Obsession. Sorry, that probably violates your hustle rules, but the whole point, it was interesting because we were getting requests from people, particularly women, who wanted to tone and lose weight, and particularly shrink their waistline, get rid of what they would call belly fat, but they at the same time wanted to build their butt. Okay, which is a really hard thing to do twice at the same time, because you've got to feed the muscle at the same time that you're trying to slim down. So to do that, you've got to be a little obsessed about it with the way you eat and with the way you work out.
Yeah.
So this is the breakthrough, though. We created a thing that we call a real-time program, and we literally shot this thing with the same cast day by day for 80 days straight. So as your body is transforming, so is the cast. And it's phenomenal. And that led to a program that we call Morning Meltdown 100. And, have you ever heard of the Indianapolis 500?
Yeah.
It's a car race where they got to do 500 laps around this thing. Yeah. And I was literally flying over this track, and I was thinking about that. I'm not into car racing, but I'm like, oh, I see the whole goal. And people watch that because you just got to get to 500. That's pretty simple. Wouldn't that be interesting to do a thing where I just got to get to 100 workouts? Yeah. So we created a thing where Morning Meltdown 100. Every morning, I want to melt off a layer of fat for 100 workouts. And so it's 100 workouts in real time. And it's just like so phenomenal. If you want to stay consistent, it's kind of like going to the gym, always that same person you want to stand by at the gym or get that consistency. But now you're just doing it on your TV, but it's the same cast. You get to know the trainer. And this is the point is, this has been the fun evolution of the business, is we get to create and iterate on this to try to help people, including me, solve the problem of inconsistency with fitness when it's such a pain in the ass. Am I allowed to say that? When it's such a pain to be able to stay up with it, because I just don't feel like dragging my ass to the gym, parking and all, and changing, and people looking at me. By myself with my video. That's what works for me.
I love it. Are all these programs in the app that you're talking about?
Yes, all 130 of them.
130. Who came up with these ideas? It sounds like you had a big part in that. Is it mostly you that comes up with these
No.
concepts?
I got a whole team of
Yeah,
people, and our trainers come up with
right.
things. The one trainer that I mentioned, Autumn Calabrese, super inventive, and
Yep.
she's the one that also did 80 Day Obsession, and then she came up with an idea called 9 Week Control Freak. So it's like all these little iterations on the theme that Sean T, who created Insanity, is also a dancer, so he created this program called Size, the end of exercise, because it's all dancing. And it's like, so you try to each workout, you're basically learning a routine that then you could put on TikTok.
Yeah.
So it's all these fun little things, and the team collaborates as an ensemble, and it's just an amazing place to work and fun to put them out in the world, and then just see people go nuts about these things. We got people, Heather, who they tag me on Instagram, who will print out the logo of a program, and they are all over their walls. Like people who have done all 130 programs, some of them multiple times. And every time they finish one, they print it out and frame it and put it on their wall. And that's their trophy case. Pretty cool.
Oh my God. And my brain's just going, okay, even if just one of these programs, like you have hundreds, like just one, like Size or whatever it is, $20, you guys, $20 in Australia to get access to. I'm blown away by this deal that you're
Just the
doing.
first 100,000. It could go
It's
fast.
just
I want to be
amazing.
careful that people don't get
Yeah,
mad
yeah,
at us.
yeah.
But
Yeah, no,
that's
they won't.
that's how we're launching it. And
But even at 269 or whatever we came up Aussie, that's
yeah.
still ridiculous for this. So
Well,
yeah,
look, and that's the truth. Like
yeah,
we sold, when we would sell P90X, it was 120 US dollars. So,
amazing.
that's a couple hundred Australian dollars. So, or whatever it is. So, um, but when people lost the weight or got in the best shape of their lives, they were like, I can't believe this is how little, like one personal training session versus I get a whole 90-day program for $120. Like that's the value once you really think about the results that you can get, and the fact that we test everything. Like there have been programs that we launched that we put it in testing, and we could just tell people weren't getting the results. The premise didn't
Yeah.
work, and we shut the thing down. It's happened about 3 times in the company's history. Or we made some changes to it and then got it on track. So every time you plug into one of these programs, you know that we tested it with between 50 and 100 people and proved that it works as promised. And we even have a program called For Beginners Only. Like
Right.
literally, we wanted it to just be for people who are intimidated by exercise and they want a safe place. And that thing has been a blockbuster this year. It's just a 3 week program with a modifier, super easy, whether they're doing some of the moves from a chair, and then it shows them how to progress and get a little bit more intense. But I agree with you
Amazing.
that the value is there for people who are just ready for the change, but don't want the pressure of trying to make that change in public.
I love that so much. I remember when I first started going to the gym, I'm big into Pilates, but I would cringe when I'd go in because I would feel like, oh my God, everyone's looking at me. I don't know what I'm doing. So I get that. I mean, you're offering this really incredible starting place, but also for people that are more advanced that just don't want to go to the gym. It's everything, encompasses everything. As we start to wrap up, I have two last questions for you. The first question is, what's the future of the fitness and wellness industry look like? What do you think is going to happen?
That's a really good question. Everybody's talking about AI these days.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that AI is going to end up replacing the human being in the creation of content, because because that human connection is still really valuable. But I do think that AI can help people stay accountable and manage the inevitable derailing. Like life happens, trauma happens, sickness happens, stuff happens in the family. And then that AI can help you find a way to get back on without feeling like you're starting from scratch. So I do think that AI will play a role. But I think um, the real future is what I'm hoping for is we're starting to see it, that people are thinking less about the pure vanity outcome, and they're starting to understand that their quality of life is what really matters. And the most valuable commodity in the world is your health. If you've got a room full of gold and a room full of diamonds and acres of oil, but you don't have your health, man, how fast will you sell those three things so that you can get your health? It just doesn't matter. And I think as people realize that their nutrition choices and their consistency, even the slightest consistency, walking or just, some lifting, some programming discomfort into your life so that you have control of your comfort. Because, if you just laid in bed all day, you're going to eventually get uncomfortable, right? Discomfort will come find you. So you need to program your own discomfort so that you have control of your comfort. And that's where the quality of life will happen. So I think there's going to be a bit of a mindset shift. It's already happening. That is not going to just be purely pharmaceutical driven. And then I think there's going to be a movement in the world. And I hope that we're big participants, if not a catalyst for generating that movement.
I love that you've said all of that. So thank you for sharing that. And I know you're going to be part of it just based on this conversation and how much you care about people. And I can tell that you care to make a really big dent in this planet in that space. So, Carl, where can people find you, hang out with you, learn more?
Yeah, well, I don't know the website address. I do know that if they went to like the App Store, okay, if you look up BODI, you could probably also look up Beachbody, and you should be able to find it wherever you are. So if you're in the U.S., I know you'll find it, and Canada and UK and France. But you should, as of July 30th, also be able to find it in Australia, in the App Store in Australia. Or I presume if you just search BODI, it should come up so people could join if they want to be part of that first 100,000 that get to steal it for 20 Australian.
Literally steal it. That's a good way of saying it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Amazing. We'll definitely put the links up to that. And Body Series, does that still exist as an account? The Body Stories.
Body Stories. Yeah, that's on Instagram at Body Stories. I don't know how Instagram goes over continents and territories, but yeah, that still exists for people. And just at Body, BODI is a big account. We love people to follow us. That's one of the interesting things. Anybody who, at least in the US, I'm just not sure how it's going to translate to Australia, but we have a thing called body previews. Like people who just wanted to see what this content looked like. We have an account on YouTube where we have a bunch of our workouts that people can try, samples, and on a thing called Body Previews, BODI, previews.com. And you got access to over 130 workouts to see which one might pertain to you. And then you decide if you want to subscribe based on that, or you just jump in and give it a shot and figure something's going to work for you. But look, at the end of the day, I think people, whether they're doing it from Body or not, I hope that the one thing they get from your podcast is a bit more of a balanced approach toward lifestyle choices. And I hope that part of those choices are a little bit more consistent approach to exercise and nutrition choices that serve them. Don't just gratify them, but serve them. So I think you're doing a great thing too with your podcast.
Very much appreciated. Thank you very, very, very much for allowing us to take a half hour of your time and share these amazing conversations. So thank you for being here, Carl.
My pleasure, Heather. Thanks.
Thank you.